Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome
Coming to you live from the dungeon.
from the dungeon of Anatolia.
Erdogan, he heard you, bro. He said, this guy been making podcasts about me. He's been speaking too much. I don't like his political hot takes.
That's why we got to change this topic. Today's episode is all about marriage and love and romance. They said if you make enough of those episodes, then we'll let you out.
Turkish women for Turkish men only. That's what they like. They like
Oh,
these are the kind of things you need to throw out there.
I
That's
don't
right.
know if that's
Arabs for
I don't know if that's a
Arabs.
thing here.
Asians for Asians. It is what it is.
I'll tell you something, bro. In the Istanbul consulate, the Algerian consulate in Istanbul, there's always a lot of Algerian women with Turkish husbands.
Ah, well, you know, Algerian men can be a bit difficult, I
Haranga's
suppose.
dream.
Really? Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
What's new with you, bro?
What is new? So I'm currently in an empty room, meaning there's no furniture whatsoever. And it's reminded me actually of the episodes we released when I just moved here. Because I was like, I remember recording in this room with nothing except maybe there was a curtain or there was some sort of chair, table, chair, something like that. And now I'm back to the same situation because my residency permit was not renewed. So gotta go, gotta get out.
Wow. How on topic for Mind Heist that you become an illegal immigrant overnight, you know,
Well,
after all that
that's
deliberating.
not overnight.
Well, you know, to
So
the Mind Heist listeners.
I was I was informed about a week before my current permit would expire. So I had 7 days, 8 days, well, 7.5 days to leave the country to avoid being illegal. And that's what my family did. But I am staying as a naughty boy.
You know what I mean? You don't even obey the rulers in Muslim countries, don't obey the rulers in Kufkuf countries. You just you're a walking khilafah right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's no choice. There's no choice. I know people that this happened to them and they stayed 2 months over their deadline because I mean, come on, bro. It's not like I was here for 6 months
Yeah,
holiday.
of course. Yeah,
I was here for 4.5 years.
So
And a lot of people I know had been here for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And just like that, they got the boot.
I wanted to understand because you weren't aware that it was expiring until they told you, or you're just usually aware and usually go a week before and everything's fine. Is that?
No, I was aware it was expiring, and about what was it? 2 weeks. Yeah. So 3 weeks before it expired, I applied for the renewal. Then they give you an appointment that you go to.
Right.
They gave me that appointment about 7 days after I applied. Okay. So when I went to the appointment, there were 2 weeks left. And then 1 week after the appointment, I got the response, which was that it was rejected. So then I had another 7 days until it would fully expire.
Okay. 2 questions then. How early can you renew, like apply for a renewal?
You're really making me look dumb now.
I just want to know.
You can apply 60 days before the expiry. 2 weeks, 2 months, Yanni.
2 months. And
so if I applied immediately, then I would have plenty of notice, I suppose. Yeah.
And the last question is, do they tell you like why they reject, or is it just a straight no?
You went to school and you studied English, science, you studied maths. Then you went to university, studied engineering, economics, maybe computer science. But where along the line do you ever learn about how to be a man of character, how to be a man that takes action, how to have a resilient mindset, and to build yourself to become a man that you're proud of, especially the Islamic way? Because a lot of men, when they want to learn how should a man act in this situation, especially in 2025, they will either end up going left side to the feminism or right side to the red pill. Well, I wrote a book specifically that cuts through both of those, and it just goes to the source, to Islam, to show you how to be a man of character according to Islam. I've got a free chapter for you in the description. Click that link, check it out, and if you like it, you can get the whole book.
They give you this very general reason. It's like article, blah, blah, blah. If you really want the deeper reason, you have to go to the office and ask them, and then they'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, then they'll tell you. But in this case, there are two basic, two reasons I think, because it's not just me, Annie, it's happening to quite a few people.
Mm.
One reason could be that they didn't feel I like had enough money or like I was spending enough money in the country.
Yeah.
This is like an unofficial rule, okay? It's not like an official rule.
Yeah.
It's just like like there are certain laws that are actually laws, okay? So for example, one
Yeah.
law is that when you apply and you go to your appointment, they must give you a response within 90 days. That's
Yep.
actually a law, right?
Yep.
So like if you were waiting too long or something, then you can maybe take them to court and blah 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 because they've broken a law, if you like. But these things, like you have to have this much money in your account, or you have to be spending this much. You have to be spending that much money per month or whatever. These are
Yeah.
unofficial things. They're things that the employees kind of decide between themselves, kind of on a very unofficial, Yanni. So it's
Yeah.
all hearsay. What the criteria are to be renewed. So I from the rumors, I did what I could, like financially, to show them, okay, I've got this much money, and I'm just spending what I'm spending. I'm not going to start increasing my
Yeah.
spending just
Yeah.
to stay here. So I thought I did well with the financial side. The other reason could be that there seems to be a pattern. Anybody who's been here for like 4 to 5 years on a tourist residency, then they're just rejecting all of them because they don't want people
Right.
to be here like as a tourist for that long. They want you to move on to either be a student or get a work permit, like either get a
Yeah.
job or start a business or something,
Yeah.
or buy property. These are the reasons they want, like they want you to stay in those ways, not in the
Yeah.
tourist way.
Makes
And so
sense.
they're just there's actually two other people in the last month who have been refused like me, and they've also been here for like 4.5 years, similar. So it seems to be a
Mm.
pattern that when you reach around 4.5 years, they just refuse, and they're like you could apply as a student, you could apply again get a job, but you can't keep staying here for that long as a tourist. So
It's interesting. How much access do they have to your financials, or is it something you have to submit to them?
I provide it.
Okay.
I get a bank statement.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Again, they don't officially ask for that. Like it's
Yeah.
not a rule, but it's just known that you should provide that.
Yeah. Right. So let's delve into your psyche. Okay. I mean, going into this
Yeah,
appointment, feeling all
yeah.
confident. I got all my stuff sorted out. Did you have any suspicions that it was going to be rejected this time?
Oh yeah. When I applied, I felt like about 50% I was going to get refused
Really? Okay. And did you have any contingency
because of
plans
the
for that?
pattern that I'm talking about.
Yeah. But did you like before it?
Um,
Did you think, oh, I need to?
yeah. Bro, look, I'll tell you something, yeah, on a macro level. And I think, inshallah, like everyone can benefit from this if they're ever living in any country other than where they are maybe born and raised or where
Hmm.
they're citizens. Um, since about April 2022, which feels a very long time ago, um, since April 2022, new people were not allowed to come and live
Yeah.
in Turkey, under this tourism pretense. Okay,
Mm.
so that's like 3 years at this point.
Yeah.
New people have not been allowed to come. Okay, the people that were already there, like me, and a lot of people I know, they were able to keep renewing. But since that date, that is basically when the golden era of like these residency permits ended.
Yeah.
And it became every year just became a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit harder. So naturally, when that's the situation, we often discuss between ourselves, okay, what could we do? What could the contingency plan be,
Yeah.
etc. And I I was always like, I kind of took it year by year.
Mm.
Then last year they shifted it to where you have to renew it every 6 months, not every year,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I'm taking it every 6 months, I suppose.
The noose was
But
getting tighter.
I remember, yeah, exactly. And some people, by the way, they couldn't hack this instability and volatility. It's not that they were refused; it's just they couldn't hack it, and so they left by themselves,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So I know some people they left purely by themselves because they wanted somewhere more, they felt more stable. Okay. But I was always like, look, it's great here, so I'll just stay until they don't let
Mm.
me stay, you know.
Mm.
And I remember sitting down with somebody, maybe 6 months ago or something, and I said, look, bro, if they refuse me, then they refuse me, but I'm staying here until they refuse me, right?
Yeah.
And if they refuse me, I'll go to Algeria. That's what I told him like six
Okay.
months ago.
Yeah.
I said, Alhamdulillah, I've got a place I could go, Yani, and but I'm not gonna. They're not gonna squeeze me out without rejecting me. They're gonna have to
Really.
reject me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How did your? I
And
mean,
I'll
if you
tell you
don't
something
go
else
on.
though.
Yep.
I'll tell you something else though. Um, as much as I love this place, and honestly, like there's so much I haven't shared on the podcast, but
Mm.
it's actually one of the most amazing places on earth. Honestly, my from what I know, Yani, compared to other places, not just Istanbul or Turkey, but my specific neighborhood, it's really really
Right.
amazing, very unique, Yani. It's very hard to find somewhere like this on earth. Um, However, despite that, I was thinking that in the long term, I probably wouldn't be able to stay here. Just thinking of, yeah, I mean, from the point of view of my kids being able to grow up being part of society, being
Yeah,
like
we
fully
spoke about that.
integrated,
Yeah.
I couldn't see that happening so much here. So I
Mm.
thought, as amazing as it is, I don't want to be like trying to move and my kids integrating into a society when they're already like 11, 12, 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
better, it needs to be done from a younger age. So that was one thing. And the other thing is like, I don't want to build up my whole kids' upbringing in a place that one day we could just have to leave, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
being here for like 4 or 5 years versus being here for 15 years is quite different in terms of being kicked out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's why I was thinking that I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna stay, but probably I was thinking in the next 2 years, I'm probably gonna leave anyway.
Mm.
So I was thinking that, but it just came a bit earlier than that time period.
How did your like family and your kids sort of react to that? Were they always prepared, or do your kids even understand that they have to leave? Or
Um, bro, my kids were just they're too young, I think.
really?
I was just like one day I was just like, yeah, you're gonna go to Algeria, and then they're like, okay. And I was kind of it, like it wasn't that
Yeah.
bad. Like even their friends, when they saw their friends like for the last time, they just walked out the door as usual and they just said salam and
Really?
left. And I was like, go and say salam properly, and because you're not gonna see them for a while and stuff. And then my son asked me, he's like, well, how do I do that? What does that mean? Like to say goodbye properly?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then I was like, I didn't actually know really how to explain it. But anyway, he did it in his own way. And yeah, so my kids are like kind of okay, like they don't really
Yeah.
get it, I suppose.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. I suppose it's a lesson, not a lesson like, oh, you should have known, but this was always kind of in the cards, wasn't it? But it's definitely an experience worth sharing
Mm,
with a lot of the listeners because there's been a trajectory in Turkey that's heading this direction. And there are other opportunities elsewhere opening up. But I suppose
mm,
you kind of don't, you've already had that experience of instability and you're just not looking for that anymore at your age. I think younger people without families, maybe they can still hop around, maybe more. But I think when you want, when you've got that family and you kind of want to you're getting over the hump of, I don't know, mid 30s or whatever, getting close to that age, you kind of want to start putting
mm,
some roots down. And it'd be nice, like we've mentioned in prior episodes, to like all this hard work that you're doing can then be put into something physical that remains, that is stable, that will stay there. Like building or building some sort of infrastructure, or like every Arabi has a house that he's been building all his life or something like that. Do you know what I mean? That he can
mm.
pass down. Maybe in Algeria you can do that. Maybe in Algeria you
Yeah,
can actually, leave something behind, build something to leave behind.
yeah,
Sorry, which may be Turkey.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you'll leave Turkey now, and will there be much left behind that from the last 5 years, imprint wise? Like you know, might be
Mm.
a photo in a restaurant
I
somewhere or
mean,
something.
obviously, yeah, physically, physically, there's nothing.
Yeah.
But
It's
it's been very good.
yeah.
I think, yeah, I've been thinking about, this concept of having stability.
Yep.
I think it puts off a lot of people who like might be in the UK or something, and they're not like willing to leave, or they don't feel ready to leave yet. And honestly, like, especially if you're a little bit younger, but like when I say younger, I just mean like up to 35 or something. I guess it also depends on the age of your kids, but you don't have to go somewhere forever. And I think that puts a lot of people off.
Mm.
Like, bro, people will go to the UAE, get a nice job, nice package, and they'll stay there for 3 years, and they'll, save as much money as possible, tax free, and then they'll go back to the UK.
Right.
Like white people, whatever, they'll do that, right? So people will go to places for short periods, benefit from it, and leave. And I don't think like this. I don't think you have to go somewhere. And imagine the pressure that puts on you and puts on the country as well, frankly, when you're going somewhere and you're like, this is the rest of our life, you
Really,
know.
yeah.
I think that puts too much pressure on you, and you're, having an amazing experience, especially from the beginning. Sometimes it will take years for you to really settle into a place. I was just actually going back and forth with ChatGPT about this, and it suggested that to really get a good feel of a place, it will take 2 years. That's
Yeah.
what it suggested anyway.
Yeah.
And I can see that, I can get that. So if people are, imagine, like, I can't imagine this because I didn't live this, I can't imagine it too much, but imagine you're lived in the UK your whole life, completely your whole
Yep.
life. Like, imagine like a typical, like, Pakistani, someone of Pakistani origin, they're
Yep.
born and raised in London, let's say, and they've
Uh-huh.
never visited Pakistan, which is, I noticed, is quite a large portion
Mm.
have never visited Pakistan. Now they're like, I'm going to move to XYZ country. Imagine they're like, I'm going to check out X country for a year versus I'm going to pick one country that I will live in for the rest of my days. That's a
Yeah.
huge difference in pressure, in, what that place has to be. Whereas
Yeah.
me, like when I went to Turkey, I was like, I'm going for 1 month. After one
Mm.
month, I was like, okay, I'm here for 3 months. But when I reached about 2 months, I'm like, I'm staying here at least a year.
Right.
And
Okay.
then when I was here for about 3 months, I'm like, I'm staying here for as long as possible. Like that
Yeah.
was like my thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so 5 years, it was a good use of well, not exactly 5 years, 4.5. It was a good use of 4.5 years. Likewise in the UAE, because I lived in the UAE for a very long chunk. And then I went to the UK for 3 years, and I went back to the UAE for, I want to say, 2 or 3 years. Okay. That 2 or 3 year period in UAE, I was married for about 1 year of that period, I think. And again, it was good for that time, right? Now when I go to Algeria, by the way, how do I know how I'm going to find it? I'm very,
No, I know.
it's
Yeah.
very possible that I'll give it a try for 1 year, 2 years, and then I might, for whatever reason, just find that I really, as much as I've tried, it's not working, and I'll
Yeah.
be off, bro. But the main thing that it all has in common is that it's all Muslim countries, and it's all just, seeking what's best for the akhirah, really.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to say, bro, because when I say I could go to Algeria, I'm a citizen of Algeria. That's my place. That's my backup place. That's where my family is. Blah blah blah. Right? That's actually that I was trying to fight against that, because I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
temporarily, yes, that's true, but when I'm deciding like to settle somewhere, I need to make it for the sake of Allah, right? So I
Hmm.
have to actually stop that thinking, the default thinking, and say, no, I'm not making a big life
Right.
choice based on all automatic decision making. I have to make an intention for the sake of Allah. This is a huge opportunity for reward, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you can go to Algeria temporarily, but are you going to try and establish yourself there for the sake of Allah? Does it fulfill the criteria for it to be for the sake of Allah? Do you see your iman increasing over there? Do you see your kids being raised, on the Quran and Sunnah, etc. over there? Do you find people of knowledge over there and people that are good company? Like, basically, is it going to get you closer to
Yeah.
Allah,
Yeah.
etc. Right? And so I had to think, I tried to think that through and think, okay, what opportunities are there to serve Allah, etc., over there? And then I tried to make that into a clear intention that this is for the sake of Allah, and we have these good intentions and things that we intend to do.
Yeah. I,
So inshallah,
yeah.
we can expect ajr for that.
I think, I mean, it's certainly going to raise your stress levels, I'm sure, and there is a big potential that you will see a lot of good and you will see a lot of bad, and it's going to be a bit of a mental kind of conflict, because I'm seeing that more. I'm like doubling down and engaging more with social media in Tunisian social media, and speaking to a lot of Tunisians, and also like getting involved in like the daily, not scandals, but the daily politics. Oh, this has happened. Oh, this has happened. What's this? What's going on? I am being more exposed now to kind of the challenges that are there, still very much so, and it does make me a bit wary of like, okay, how do I, going there and visiting, even when I go and visit, I'm facing a few issues, learning a bit more about laws that exist. And now I understand, like, when I was stopped by the police so many times, I've looked into the laws that govern that stop and how they came about and what they entail. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of very Orwellian laws that we've got here. Do you know what I mean? Like their bar of suspicion for any kind of extremism is really low, like really low. It's like anything that can destabilize the state, but that criteria is so low that it's actually left vague and open to the interpretation of whatever officer is there, right? And there was a big, like, I came across a bit of a, not scandal, but yeah, a bit of a folder that happened, which is I've come across a lot of these. They're a little bit like the UK Dawah boys, I suppose. Like that kind of scene, but it's more in Tunisia, and they are like this combination of like, a lot of them are like fitness influencers, but they're also, very practicing, and they use a lot of,
MashaAllah.
yeah, but they're not actually like, if you were to look at them, you wouldn't know unless you watch them and listen to them. Like they haven't got the biggest beards, but it's like reminders, fitness. And there's like there are some that focus more on the reminders in Islam, and there are some that are just more fitness, but they're all kind of, anyway. And I kind of came across this hashtag that was going around. It was like free Yassine, and I was like, who's this Yassine guy? What's going on? And essentially, I watched one video, and one of the influencer guys, he was like, listen, this is what's happened. A young boy, he doesn't really have a beard or anything. He's got light little stubble. He's quite young. He must be, 18, 20, something like that. Clearly very healthy, very fit, does a lot of gym videos and stuff. But throughout his gym videos, lots of reminders, this hadith, that hadith, al-Muslim al-Qawi, that kind of thing. And he basically got arrested for something. And I was trying to find out, what did he get arrested for? And he used the nasheed in one of his reels. I couldn't find the nasheed. The one nasheed I did see, I couldn't hear anything wrong with it. But from what I understand, it might have been a nasheed that was a bit, one of them ones. Right? Now the uproar is like, okay, if this kid went out and put music on his thing, like hip hop music, talking about drugs and alcohol and sex and stuff, nothing would have happened to him. He's put this nasheed up. He probably didn't even know what it said. Probably didn't even know where it came from. I haven't heard it, so I don't even know the context. But he got arrested, and for a few days I was like, oh, this is really bad. But then he was let out, so I don't know what it entailed. But then that sparked a lot of memes and a lot of people doing these like funny videos of like, oh, yalla nimshu, what did he say? He goes, there was this guy who was like, did a little real comedy thing, and he was like, oh, yalla nimshu nsalli, nimshu al-jama, right? Let's go to the masjid. And then it does like this police siren, like the police are coming for him. He goes, oh, I don't know. Yalla nimshu niskru, which is like, let's go and get drunk. And it's, oh yeah, the police officer's like, oh, that's all right. And that is a reality in some places. Like North Africa, they won't necessarily mind in some places. I don't know about Algeria, but like in some North African countries, if you were to go and like go and drink in or whatever, not promote it, but go and engage in it, you probably wouldn't get hassled as much. But then if you were like getting a little bit too vocal
Bro, half the songs are all about that. Unfortunately,
yeah, of course,
bro, it's actually insane. But like normal practicing people, like they pray and stuff at their wedding.
Yeah.
They'll have music about like taking drugs and drinking.
Now there has been, I've seen it in Algeria. I've definitely seen it in Tunisia, but I think I've seen it in Algeria. There have been laws about moral decency passed recently. Now, moral decency is whatever the normative culture dictates his morals. Some of that is from Islam, some of that is from
Yeah.
culture, right? So you'll have like there was some arrests recently for some women that were like going on TikTok and just being really lewd and really whatever and obtuse and stuff, and they were arrested and stuff. So there is essentially what there seems to be is there's a code of practice for the Muwatin, that is a North African Muwatin, whether that's Maghreb, Zaire, Tunis, and you need to be really hyper aware of what that norm is, okay? And there is going to be elements of there, very much most of the elements in there are going to be from our deen, but then there's going to be these areas of like grey areas where you might push into that raise eyebrows over there. And this is where it varies. So like certain things that maybe in Saudi or whatever you'd be fine doing, in North Africa it's a little bit more like, ooh, questionable. You know, are you pushing the limits too much? And there's like a moral decency, a cultural norm that is, generally generally quite conservative, but with contradictions within it, like woven in it, isn't there? And someone
Yeah.
who isn't Algerian or isn't Tunisian or like someone might go over there, like let's say it was use the Asian example, an Asian brother getting kicked out of Turkey. Let me look at North Africa, for example. Goes to North Africa and doesn't get those nuances because it's really unique to that North African experience. And
Yeah.
I wonder, I mean, actually, it'd be good to ask you, although it's kind of redundant now. Does Turkey have that kind of element in it, do you think? Is there like a Turkish norm when it comes to moral decency that isn't necessarily what you'd imagine being, Quran and Sunnah and that kind of behavior that you could raise eyebrows for or get in trouble for?
Psst. Have you ever seen a lion in the zoo? That he's just got that look in his eyes that I'm not a threat to you. I'm domesticated. That might be what's happened to you. If you have big dreams or big goals in your life, but you've not taken action on them, you're procrastinating over it, then you want to check out my YouTube channel. All my videos there are to help people like you to break free from your procrastination, to start taking action on your goals and actually achieve more and more big things that you've been dreaming of for a long time. Look in the description, you'll find the link there, and check out the channel.
I mean, bro, obviously my experience in Turkey is 90% Istanbul, right? I mean, most things go here, unfortunately.
Really?
Obviously, Turkey is very unique in the Muslim world, very unique. So, tattoos are normal. Men wearing earrings is normal.
Yeah.
Drinking alcohol is pretty normal. Not that it's not like England in terms of, at least where I live. And actually, anytime I go out of my area, it's not like I'm seeing loads of people drinking. But you just see here, alcohol shops have to have a specific sign on the front, so you know that that shop sells alcohol.
Right.
So you see them in my area. There's like one in the whole area. There's not many at all. But in other areas of Istanbul, normal areas, average areas, you'll see more of them, Yani. But it's not like you're seeing people drinking in the street whatsoever. You don't see people, even people, I don't know, going in and out and like carrying bottles. You don't see that. I've seen betting shops around. You see women dress very badly, to be honest. Even in my area, it's increasing. Every summer, it's actually worse. But yeah, women, there's no red lines, I would say, with women dressing, it seems. And it just seems like religion generally is like a bit taboo in terms of between them. They don't want to discuss that or bring that into the conversation because it's a divided country in that sense. You know, there are people who don't give any weight to what Allah and the Prophet ﷺ says, and there are people who give it weight. And so if you're going to bring that up, then it's going to cause like a war, you know. So from what I understand, like giving dawah in Turkey, you have to be very sensitive. You have to be, I would say, extremely in touch with the norms of the country because yes, whatever, 80-90%, I'm not sure, say they're Muslim and they say I believe in Allah, etc. But if you were to give them dawah to certain things or to say to certain mistakes they're making, they might be very touchy about it. So Turkey's a very unique kind of thing.
Thinking about that though, I think this is a debate I often have with my own self. Is like, I think a lot of Western Muslims, diaspora, they have this comfort of living in the West where their da'wah is so free and so unrestricted that they do think that is Islam and that's what Islam should be. And then if I go to the Muslim world in any Muslim country, I should be able to replicate that and that should be encouraged. But I don't think that's ever been the case in the
Mm.
Muslim world. You know, I think when you actually go to the Muslim world, the norms of whatever country it is, even going back to like the time of Ibn Taymiyyah, for example, any sort of outspoken dawah that might challenge the norms of that society, like it could be, you know, speaking up against some bid'ah that exists. Well, that is going to get you in trouble with authorities that endorse that bid'ah or whatever. Or the reverse of that, your
If
dawah,
they
like your
endorse it,
dawah
yeah.
might be fine. I mean, yeah, your dawah might be fine. I mean, but you know, Abu Bakr and Amr and Zayd's dawah might not be fine. So there is going to be this, listen, this is
Mm.
our norm. This is what we expect. Your job isn't to give dawah here. Your job is to just follow the imam that we appoint or we've co-signed. And even though you might feel, or your dawah might be good and it might increase, who are you and you're not vetted? And what's going on? And I think that's the problem that happens with social media in these countries is that that's another angle. Like you might not have had much run into Turkish authorities because your dawah, whatever dawah you might do, even if it's Muslim CEO or your own stuff, is in English and it's directed to more Westerners or people. It's not necessarily in Turkish aimed
Yeah.
at Turkish people. So you're not really
Oh,
hitting that radar.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
anyone,
yeah, yeah. No,
but
bro, like, again, I don't say this, I haven't given details on this, but the
yeah,
type of people that I've come across here, in any other country in the world, they'd be in jail. Okay.
yeah,
But they all have one thing in common. They all have one thing in common, that they
yeah,
don't talk about Turkish society,
of
Turkish
course,
religion in Turkey. They're not talking about Turkey whatsoever,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they talk about anything else pretty much. They'll
Well,
talk about.
ironically, you know, that is, are they diaspora? Like they're not from, you know, they're
Yeah, they're
Muslims
not
from other.
Turkish, yeah.
So generally, that's something I think we've inherited as diaspora because we will sit in England knowing, like, we won't go and talk about number 10 Downing Street, like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But we'll say, oh, Egypt, they need to remove Sisi. Right? We'll do that because we're not in
Mm,
Egypt. We could say that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, so
mm,
I
mm.
what I'm saying is like people talk about wanting to leave England and stuff like that, but it's about deconstructing those thoughts that we have in our mind because your expectation of going to these certain countries needs to shift, you know. And you spoke about my move has to be fi sabilillah, but every single Muslim country that you speak about has these parameters that you have to operate within because some
Yeah,
people, I'm not talking about
obviously,
you,
yeah.
but I'm not talking about you, you know, uniquely you, but anyone who's thinking about this, they have to they
Yeah.
have to approach any Muslim country, even the best Muslim country that you can think of, whatever that might be in your own head, with this kind of understanding that, okay, what is my concept of, you know, freedom of religion and freedom of practice or whatever? What does that entail? And what does
Mm,
the normative Islamic practice that is co-signed in that country, what does that? And
yeah.
do I sacrifice my, you know, oh, because I can't do this couple of things, well, the whole everything else that is co-signed is bad? Because I did come to, you know, people question my talk about Tunisia and why would you go there and whatever. When I was sitting in Masajid more and more, you know, just for Jumu'ah khutbas, I was sitting there and I was actively benefiting from khutab that, you know, I know this imam is, you know, he's obviously got some sort of government authorization to be the imam of this masjid. I get that. But at the same time, his khutab are powerful. Yes, they're not politically charged or politically motivated, unless he's talking about some foreign entity that the government also doesn't like. Like, you can talk about Israel and how
Mm,
crap they are and whatever, because the government does that too. Great. But I
yeah.
wasn't sitting there thinking, oh, this is sanitized. Oh, this is. There's plenty in the deen that the people need to hear in these Muslim countries that is beneficial to them
Mm,
and is beneficial to you and beneficial to me and beneficial to my kids. And because I can't, I don't know, put a dawah stall up or whatever it might be that some people might want to do as well, does that then
mm,
make everything else redundant that you could benefit from? And I think this is something you're going to obviously experience in today. Like when you go there, you're going to be weighing it up actively, aren't you? You're going to
yeah.
be like, okay, oh, this is an issue. I didn't like that. But is it, but this
Yeah.
could be really good. This, like, it's just a thought experiment. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
really interesting for
Yeah.
you because
It is, yeah. It's gonna,
yeah,
I'm gonna, I'll tell you something, you know, in the context of like Dawah and stuff, in Algeria, honestly, like this is my thinking right now, of course.
mm,
I would be much more willing to, you know how you said there's parameters in every country?
yeah,
Of course, every country has its parameters. You have to know those parameters to navigate them. But as a citizen, I'm much more comfortable pushing those boundaries wider,
Really?
you
Okay.
know, um, because I feel like, firstly, I'm not going to get deported. It's my country, right? I'm not
Well,
going to have my residency revoked because of that or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Secondly, they can't like label me as this foreign entity coming in. They can if they really want, but
Mm.
I just feel like this is
There's an
half like this is
ownership
my
though, isn't
duty.
there?
If I don't push the boundaries in this
Yeah.
country, where will I ever push the boundaries?
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
boundaries need pushing because they're wrong. The boundary is completely wrong. So obviously, I wouldn't go crazy with it. I'm not saying
No, of
that. I'm
course,
just
of
saying that
course.
I feel a bit more ability to push those boundaries to watch where it should be a bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's,
But yeah, but before I do that, I would definitely need to learn way
yeah.
more about the norms and the this and that and stuff like that. Of course, of course.
Yeah. I think there's a obviously there's an end there. What's the word? There's like an aura of a humility that you need to have, especially your first 5 years or whatever, just to
Mm.
getting a feel for it.
Yeah, bro.
I don't remember where we were, what we were saying.
And well, bro, we could just get back into it like this. I just had to get up and sell a my desk, my beautiful work desk. Um, I'm just, at this point, bro, I'm just handing out stuff. I'm like literally just take it even for free. I'm giving away a lot of stuff for free because there's no time to hang around and
Yeah.
try and get good prices. But I will
How
tell
you
you one thing.
go on then?
Inshallah, tomorrow I'm going to sell my car. There's a buyer, pretty serious buyer, and he mentioned the price he's willing to pay. Um, inshallah, so I bought my car 10 months ago, and I'm going to sell it for a small profit, inshallah. So that's
Oh
how,
wow, Laberic. That's nice. How
yeah,
are you advertising
that's
stuff?
how
Is it
mad it
Facebook?
is over here. Mostly WhatsApp groups. We got a mixture
Okay.
of um, English speaking buyers and Arabic speaking buyers. And then for the car, I put it on the website called Sahabinden, which is like the big directory website, which is like main way to sell a car. I put it up and literally I put it up 2 days ago, bro, and we got a buyer already. So it's
Laberic.
very moves very fast in Istanbul.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, end of an era, I suppose.
But yeah, we were talking about like the norms in whatever country you go to and stuff. And this
Yes.
is this is one of the things that I kind of made with my intention is that going to Algeria, I can actually see myself engaging with the society eventually, like bit by
Mm,
bit. And who knows, like getting involved in whatever Dawah projects there are, whatever. My kids also getting involved in stuff. And like I could see myself, inshallah, and I'm like contributing in whatever way. Like I don't know yet
yeah.
the best way I could contribute. But
Yeah.
I'm ready to do whatever volunteering, dawah, this and that. Who knows? But I could just see
Yeah.
myself, much more likely to do that over there. So I did a bit of. There were a few opportunities here to do volunteering. Unlike in UAE, I felt was very limited. There is stuff here, and we did. Alhamdulillah, were able to participate in a few things like that. But inshallah, in
Yeah.
Algeria, I could get to know even more and more. And there's less off bounds because of the language barrier. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's
So I'm
so
looking
much
forward to that, and
opportunity for
and
good, isn't
and
there? Inshallah.
yeah, and frankly, like most of us, wherever we're living, there's good we can do right in front of our eyes, and we're not taking advantage of it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even I must admit, it's not something I necessarily look into too much, only because Uh, I think like how much do I even do in the UK? Like I probably don't do so much at all because I'm so hyper focused on just my immediate family and trying to do as much as I can for them that I can't even begin to think of committing to something outside of that. But I suppose, when you've got like three kids or whatever and all sorts going on, like what can you do? But I think that's why I think generally my expectations of what living elsewhere is quite, the bar's quite low because as long as I can still continue that focus on the family, then I think a lot of stuff kind of, by doing that in a country where there is the long term vision and the long term stability, then you kind of you feel a bit more like, okay, maybe there are going to be ripple effects that the country will benefit from just by me doing that. Like your kids, raising your kids, educating your kids, and then them becoming capable and having impact on that country in many shapes and sizes. I think that in and of itself is an investment for the country. You're not necessarily extracting in Algeria. You're bringing something there, inshallah. Um, Now I don't know what if you have you considered even a plan B if Algeria doesn't really work out. Like I don't know if you even thought that far ahead.
Maybe I have, maybe I have. So plan B or C or D or whatever. I I visited Morocco. I liked it. Maybe that could
Oh
be
yeah,
another one. Morocco. I don't.
yeah.
Like my friend who moved to Egypt and he's from Egypt, and he said, you know what? He said the best thing is when you feel like you can't leave and you're committed to it. He said then you just like force yourself
Oh
to make the best of it and stuff like that. So I'll try and have that kind of attitude, because
yeah,
the best thing is that you can like have a good life and have a good impact in the place that you're actually a citizen and maybe your family. Like that's the ideal. So try and
yeah,
make
yeah,
that
yeah.
happen, inshallah, and we'll see where Allah takes us.
Yeah, you just got to focus on your immediate family and care for them. Keep your head down, generally speaking, and do good wherever you can, and weigh things up. I suppose that's the ultimate thing, isn't it? Just weigh it up. I mean, it's like unlikely that you're ever going to be in a position where you're going to put England as an immediate alternative. Something like that. Like I just feel like that's backpedaling. Not that you lived in England that long anyway.
Yeah.
We always make that mistake. Me and the listeners. It could just be your
Mm.
English accent that we just think, oh yeah, he would just come back to England. But although you have links
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
England, it's not necessarily. Maybe someone like myself would
Yeah.
probably fall back on England more than anything else because I've spent most of my life here. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but no, it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's
I,
interesting.
yeah. Like I think I was saying this to someone the other day. Like I think just going back to the point of like the intention and what's
Yeah,
like one of your criteria for where you're going to live. It should be to have an impact on that society, or to actually have an impact on even another society, but from that place or whatever it is. I Too many people. Okay, this again it might sound controversial, even though it's ridiculous. It's not controversial at all. Too many people, in their probably subconscious, the way they talk about the peak of Islam is like when you pray in Qiyam al-Layl and you memorize the Quran and you read the Quran. And this is like, this is of course good, but they talk about that constantly as though this is the peak of Islam, and
mm,
this is like the ultimate. You can't really go beyond that if you're like deep in the knowledge and you're praying your Qiyam al-Layl and stuff. But the truth is, bro, like that discourse is destroying us, bro. That discourse is missing half of Islam. It's missing the part where you take the ibadah to Allah and try to give Allah His rights, try to give Allah what as close as you can to what He deserves in terms of praise, in terms of praying to Him, in terms of thanking Him. But what about
yeah,
his rights when it comes to how the society should be organized, or his rights in terms of helping others to find their path to him? What about all that stuff that happens outside of the four walls of your house? This is heavily
mm,
neglected, and this is the peak. If people want to look up what's the peak of Islam, they're going to find a hadith that tells you what the peak of Islam is, right?
right, yeah,
And it's not Qiyam al-Layl, it's not reading Quran, it's something else. Okay, so when I'm saying that, because as good as it is, and it might be a big step up depending on the person, to go to a place where there are masajid, where there is adhan, where it's straightforward to bury the deceased and etc., and all those good things. That's a step up, and I wouldn't tell people not to take that step up, but that's not the peak of Islam. And the peak of Islam, or the complete Islam, it includes engaging with the society. And in the state that we're in today, in many societies in the Muslim world and stuff, it must include an element of bringing people back to Islam, bringing people through the correct understanding, or etc. It must include some level of engagement with societies, economies, governments, all of the stuff. Yeah, and it's all included.
Mm. Yes. You know, it's interesting because maybe I'll throw something back controversial to you. I wonder.
Mm.
I'm not saying what you're saying is bad. I'm not saying that at all. I agree.
Yeah.
But I also question myself sometimes, and I wonder how much baggage I'm carrying in my mind of like this savior
Mm.
mentality of that we inherit from just being Western, or at least me living in the West. You know, like when I think like that, I think
Yeah.
because I used to have that when I started practicing. I used to go to Tunisia and think, "Oh, look at all of this! Like, I need to come and sort this out." You know what I mean? But then I think like,
Mm.
uh, yes, that is from Islam, and that is good, and I should think like that. But
Mm.
am I seen as a colonizer to people? Am I seen as coming with a colonized mentality?
Yeah.
Obviously, I think that's
Well, that
why.
could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Mm.
that's why what's important is yes, feel like that, have that intention, but also be led by the people that are already there doing that. That's the thing. I think
Exactly.
that's
That's
what
what I was going to say. Yeah.
fixes it. Yeah, because I think some people might go with a
Yeah.
unique kind of isolationist mentality. I'm going to come here and don't worry, everybody listen to me. I've come from England and I know what I'm talking about, and I've studied in
Yeah.
Birmingham
No
or
way.
whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think no,
Yeah.
no, no. Humble yourself. Go sit with people sit with
Mm.
people that have been doing it, and see where you can help. Not see where you can
Mm.
lead, definitely, because there's been people there that know it and that will always know it better than you. Even as I might consider myself
100%.
Tunisian. I am not as Tunisian as someone who's been born and raised there, their whole life. And I want to go and help and get
Yeah.
an understanding. And what can I
Yeah.
do? And maybe
Yeah.
you're going to be more financially
Yeah.
better off. Okay, let me see what I can help with. Let me see what I can fund. What can I bring to the
Yeah.
table in that aspect? And I think that economical leverage.
Mm.
Because let's be blunt, like inshallah, if all works out well, you're going to be better off than a lot of people that are there. Alhamdulillah, but be grateful to Allah and utilize
Mm.
that leverage to benefit the people there. Both in charity and in dawah, and whatever dawah work is there, and obviously assess it. See, is there going to be any issues here? Are they? I don't want to say co-sign, but do they have any problems with authorities or stuff that I'm going to have to prepare myself for, or is it all Gucci kind of thing? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that's the
I
best
think
way
there's
forward.
just two things you need to avoid that. What's that, white savior or whatever complex. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
avoid that, it's just two things. It's just you need to, when you're thinking that I need to pick a country where I can contribute, it's not
yeah,
because you're not needed. It's because
yeah.
you need it, not that they need you, but
Yes,
you need it for your own
100%,
akhirah, right? That's one thing.
100%.
And the second thing is go and insert yourself into existing hierarchies and organizations. Don't go
Yeah,
creating your own thing, for sure. Maybe
yeah,
after being under someone's wing for 5-10 years, you could start your own project. But especially as someone coming from abroad, it's not even
yeah.
going to work. You're probably not even going to have a good impact. So 100%. But just the concept of aspiring to benefit beyond your four walls. This is the I think we could say it's the basic of Islam. It's the basic. So
Mm,
it's something one of the criteria. It's one of the criteria of when you're picking a place. Because, I don't know. Maybe I feel
absolutely.
this deeper because in UAE I felt like this was just impossible. I didn't see this like opportunities to get involved in stuff in
Mm,
any way really. Like even I don't know. You want to clean the masjid? Well, there's a full-time cleaner there that's cleaning it. You want to.
yeah.
Obviously, you can't do a khutbah or anything like that. But like, you can't. I don't know, man. Maybe because I was in a smaller city, I just didn't see any volunteering, any charity work. There
Mm,
was donate money to give money, but there's nowhere where you can put your time or hands into it, which is way more powerful for your soul, Yanni, than just giving
yeah.
money a lot of the time. I feel. So
You
I
know what?
craved it, and that's why I came Turkey. And when I saw opportunity, I took it now and then and stuff. And now I just want to make sure I continue that.
If you could be part of like a project in Algeria, or even let's say hypothetically, you did want to start something that hadn't been done before, but obviously involving the
Mm.
local, what would it be?
Um, I don't know, bro. Yeah, it's probably more based on what I see as the need or what I see as good
Mm,
projects. I just attach myself to something good that's existing.
Mm.
Because me myself, like I've not. It's not like I'm a daddy. I don't have that much knowledge. I don't see
Yeah.
myself like that. I could maybe learn eventually and stuff, but I just want to fulfill needs, you know. And
Yeah.
I like volunteering, like charity volunteering. I like, you know, whatever it is. Like some of the stuff I did was literally, these are food boxes. They are going to
Mm.
earthquake victims. Each box
Yeah.
needs one bag of lentils, one bag of rice, one bag of this. Okay, you sort that out. Okay, now when it's done, you sellotape it up and then you put it on this pallet and then the truck will take it. And just do that
Yeah.
like for as long as you can. I like that, bro, because people are needed for that. And I think there's limited people to do that as well. There are people giving money,
100%.
yeah, but people who are there packing boxes, I think it's limited. And I honestly, bro, it's a bit selfish. It's just like for my soul, I just thought this is good. And also, like, my nephew doesn't like this, so I need to do more of it and like that kind of thing.
Absolutely. I think I think a lot of people would be pleasantly surprised by how much activity does go on in the Muslim world. I mean, even like little things, like I was looking at the Rafah border opened up again just to let the new batch of aid in. And I was looking at
Mm,
videos in Egypt of people that were prepping the aid and boxing it up and putting it in trucks and stuff. And I was just looking at the
mm,
people that were doing it, and they were all young, people maybe a bit younger than us in their 20s or whatever. And I just had a thought about those people, how desperate they have been to try and get involved in something like that. Allah's blessed them with an opportunity to get to engage in something like that, and that is in a Muslim country, Egypt. So it just made me think. And there was a woman wearing niqab, there was a guy with a beard, there's a mixture of people, like I could see in that little news clip. I was just like, oh, mashallah, like these are people that are, yes, of course, there's going to be thousands of people that want to get involved in that work. But just to see it, it made me think, yeah, of course, there are so many things. And like, if you were to just tap into these countries, whatever country you're interested in, maybe possibly living in one day, inshallah, go on Facebook, for example, because Facebook is a lot more used, and just explore that country's like pages and social media things and activities that are going on and stuff. And you'd be pleasantly surprised. Like there is a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of these movements really want so much stuff, so much help, so much assistance financially or even organizationally, whatever. How many skills have you got, for example, in marketing, for example, or social media, whatever? Like I've seen some organizations and their page is just lame, but just a bit of injection of just a little bit of marketing and it will just shoot, it will fire off so much.
mm,
um
mm.
so yeah, I think there's so much you can bring
There
to
is
the
something that I've
table.
thought of in Algeria. Like I don't have like development experience, but for example, like directory. I don't know what there is in the UK in terms of a
Mm,
directory where you can, I guess, Yellow Pages, but Yellow Pages didn't fully transition online to the point where people use it. I guess something like
yep,
Facebook Marketplace or something like that, right? So
yep,
Facebook Marketplace, the equivalent of that in Algeria is just a horrible UI experience.
yeah,
So, maybe if I see a need with something like that type of thing, like an app or a website,
mm,
maybe I could do that. Obviously, it does cost some money, but I don't know why. Like, I'm not even doubting Algerians' abilities to build stuff like that. I don't know why they haven't
yeah,
built a better version or whatever, but maybe I'll find out. And if there's no real reason, then maybe I'll do something like that as well. Because
yeah,
everyone, everyone, not just in Algeria, in the world, has a phone, has an internet connection on that phone, and they are using these apps. So why not make better apps? And not it doesn't have to be a
mm,
complicated app like some sort of internet banking kind of, like these, what do they call them? Challenger banks on. It doesn't have to be that. That would be
yeah,
very
yeah,
complicated. But just something like a directory, something that would help people find X, Y, and Z. There's
mm,
also I've seen some campaigns around cleanliness in Algeria because people litter like
yeah,
crazy, and they
yeah, I've
litter to
noticed
the
that.
level where I don't even know if you could blame the Beledia because it might be the
Yeah, yeah,
Beledia's
yeah,
doing the cleaning up, but people are just throwing so much more than they can keep up with. So I've seen
yeah,
campaigns around, clean up your neighborhood type of stuff.
I've
So
seen
I
a lot
could
of
get
that.
involved
Yeah,
in that, or maybe there could be like an app which helps people track, like, okay, we're cleaning up this neighborhood, then other people could
yeah,
clean that. I don't know, but
yeah.
stuff like that could
There's
be
definitely
interesting.
a big push across all North Africa. Social media. I've seen people shaming people on social media just for littering and stuff, which is kind of good, to be honest, because it
Mm,
just pushes that kind of agenda. But like, one thing I'd love to be part of, I don't know if it ever existed or I've never seen anything like it, but like some sort of like Alcoholics Anonymous thing, especially with Tunisia. I mean, maybe Algeria isn't so,
Mm.
it isn't so endemic in Algeria, but I'm sure there is areas that would be. But Tunisia, like, my concern is like, okay, who am I going up against with that kind of initiative? Because there are big, companies that really, homegrown alcohol companies that really push for that there, and their
Mm.
homegrown brands. It's not like imported brands or whatever. But at the same time, it
Mm.
is the biggest vice I see, at least locally where I live, that is just ruining young men, ruining everyone, ruining every man there is. Not
Really,
every
yeah.
man, but you know what I mean. Like,
And the type of guys that are drinking, are they like they're Muslim? It's not like they're saying it's not haram or I don't care
oh,
about what Allah says. It's
Habibi,
just that they're
listen,
stuck in
like
it. Is it those type of
like
people?
yeah, look, I think it I think there are alcoholics that don't know they are alcoholics. I don't think it exists as a term
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
arena that
yeah,
is discussed, like, oh, these people are alcoholics. They like I
yeah.
remember my cousin pointing at someone once who was he was like sitting on our almost like the entryway to our house, and he would tell me that guy
Mm.
is drinking pure ethanol. Like, that guy is Maruf, he's
Oof.
drinking just pure alcohol because but that's like that guy is ill. Like, he doesn't know that he just thinks he's do you know what I mean? Like, these people need so much
Yeah.
help
He's trying to numb
because
the
it's be
pain that much that he wants to just
well,
drink that.
yeah, and it feeds into so many other issues. It feeds into financial wastefulness, like spending money on alcohol. It also feeds into domestic
Yeah.
violence because it's completely like women. The reason I would see from my limited experience that feminism is so strong in Tunisia is because domestic violence historically and currently is such a strong thing because of alcohol. Women will feel disgruntled, or that's a mild term, but disgruntled with their husbands because they might be, you know, not just lazy, but like wasteful with their money, not spending enough on their family and spending a lot of money on,
Mm.
on alcohol and getting drunk all
Irresponsible.
the time, then coming
Mm.
home and beating up their wives. Yeah, and that's the reality. And I would see that, like,
Yeah.
one family I remember attending their wedding, and I remember knowing that the husband drinks, right, and knowing his reputation as a drinker, and seeing this young woman. I was much younger than them at the time, but seeing this young woman on her wedding day marrying this man, and knowing how happy she was at her wedding and stuff, and just having, even at that young age of like 12, younger than that, even 10, whatever, I don't know, just knowing that guy's got a reputation for alcohol. I know what alcohol does. I know what the women are saying because I can hear women talk amongst themselves. And I'm coming like uh maybe a year later, 2 years later, and like seeing her with bags under her eyes, hearing her screaming from her house, like, like, I live in a rural area. Like, if someone's screaming, you're going to hear it, and knowing
Mm.
what's happening and knowing that they're having issues and knowing it's because of alcohol. Alhamdulillah, I've
Wow.
heard actually that that man has quit alcohol and stuff. People do when they're older, but like, just seeing the cans everywhere and knowing the type of people and like going to any gathering. Bro, you'd go to a funeral, Uqsam billah, bro, a funeral, and you would know if the guy who died was a drinker, then all his friends are generally drinkers, and they're all going to meet up after the funeral and go and drink in his honor or some crap like that. Let's be real. They'll go to the janazah, they'll pray something, and not pray salat janazah, but they'll go and stand around the grave and yaqru shi
Mm.
haja, like a fatiha or something, because that's something they do there. And then, or at a wedding, like, how many weddings have I been to more so as a kid that I was dragged to, not as I go now. I don't really go to weddings now. By choice, I wouldn't. But
Mhm.
like, you go to a wedding and there'll be like the family area, whatever. There'll be people dancing, like, it's just weird rural dancing and stuff. And then like down there under the tree, there's like a group of men, and you know what they're up to. It's a bit dimmer over there. There's not much lighting. You can see cigarette butts and stuff
Mm.
lighting up, and then just drinking. And um, it's endemic, bro. It's horrible, and it leads into I was actually, I won't say that. But what I will say is that there was a lot of like car accidents and stuff that happen because of drink driving and stuff. Like, it
Mm.
leads into so many issues, so many issues that you
Yeah.
wonder why the country
That's a good
is
fight,
just
bro.
stuck. Yeah, it's a good fight, I think, in Tunisia, and I'm sure there's many vices like that elsewhere. Like, think of, okay, how much money do North Africans on average spend on cigarettes, for example? Just the average North African man. is there much in the way for like helping people stop smoking? Like the government even admits and
Mm.
acknowledges smoking is harmful to the body. Doctors admit, and so how much initiative is there to promote that and to
Mm.
get people into that, and you know, nicotine
Yeah.
patches, or I've never even heard of a
Mm.
nicotine patch in Indonesia. Not saying it doesn't exist. I'm sure it does, and there's discussions about it. And maybe you go to a pharmacy, but like these are
Yeah.
core things that don't even have to be like slapped with a Quran Sunnah label, but they're just obvious, and they're just wrecking
Mm.
societies because we haven't got that
Mhm.
narrative pushed really. Um,
Yeah.
it's a bit taboo, especially the
Yeah.
alcohol.
So
But yeah,
all these things are good, bro. All these things would be amazing to contribute to, and
mm,
it's the type of thing that, again, maybe you don't start up yourself, but you could probably bring some ideas to the table coming from the UK, which, in the UK, smoking has decreased a lot over the years.
mm,
Partially maybe just changing lifestyle, but partially, because of certain efforts. And it's just purely having access to English speaking media that you learn a lot of things sometimes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I'm sure there are contributions to be made. And the beautiful thing about like helping people with addiction is a big way of helping people with addiction is bringing them closer to Allah and giving
yeah,
them
yeah,
that
yeah,
sense of purpose, that sense of like, even like a lot of people obviously they get addicted because of certain pain they're trying to cover up, and
yeah,
to help them to give them the right perspective from Islam on that pain, and like give them a purpose behind the pain. Even why are you going through pain? You're being tested,
yeah,
etc., etc. That that is a way that you could give dawah at the same time as helping with them with the addiction, and
yeah,
it's just beautiful, beautiful in that sense. So
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
you see how sick this stuff is though, and I think this is what I was trying to say is that I think a lot too many people they have this impression that the best thing I could do in my life is be a better Muslim by
Yeah,
praying in the masjid, praying Fajr in the masjid, praying Qiyam al-Layl, and that's good definitely, and it just needs to be coupled with this stuff as well, like taking that and applying it, manifesting it in society as well. And it's
yeah,
hard, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
definitely hard because
yeah,
you're going to get backlash, you're going to get rude people, you're going to get who knows different problems, but this
mm,
is the work of the prophets and the prophets is that they would always come up against challengers, right? People who challenge them,
mm, mm,
whether it's coming from a whatever angle, whether they're arrogant, whether like like Fir'aun claiming he's God, whether it's like Shu'aib with the the more market and trading cheating
yeah.
type of stuff. There's always an angle, right? But well, it's part of that similar fight, mashallah,
I mean,
So
yeah. I mean,
what's better than that? What's
think
better than
about
that?
think about this kind of dawah, right? Completely like maybe left field in that regard, but let's just say you were helping people get work online, some sort of skill. I mean, internet cafe,
Mm,
you rent it out for a couple of hours every week because you're going to teach people Webflow or something, or
mm,
Photoshop or whatever online skill you've got. Because, dude, people are hungry for that in like in that kind of world, right? Just whatever you do, like Facebook ads, you're going to teach, and there's people hungry for
yeah,
that, and they're not practicing, they're not nothing, they're just the average union boys, whatever.
yeah,
But because it's you doing it,
yeah,
and because they get to know you,
mm,
and you're not saying
yeah,
you're a Sheikh al-Islam, whatever, but you know what I mean, just a little influence. Oh wait, we're going to take a break. I need to pray Maghrib or whatever. Who's going to pray whatever? Just that, like Dawah doesn't always, and we know
yeah,
this. We say all the time, Dawah doesn't always have to be the I'm here to give you a
mm,
lecture.
mm,
Dawah is just your behavior
yeah,
teaching someone else something else. Like imagine just
mm, mm,
employability advice. You've been to England or whatever. Oh, you want to work in? I've been to uni
yeah,
and I was a teacher. I did this. You know what I mean? Or English lessons, for example. Like my mum always goes on about, rightfully so. Like I should do a CELTA course, for example. So if I ever do go to Taunus, I could teach English. I could use one of
yeah,
our apartments as like a tutoring thing and teach English. Um,
yeah,
my dad used to talk about it a lot as well, and it's something definitely I might do actually because why not? Um,
yeah,
I just
yeah,
that itself, your dawah doesn't have to
mm,
be hey, we're going to have this meeting, okay, every Monday, come here, because that's
mm,
getting authorities on you like a hawk. But just I'm an English teacher, but I
exactly,
happen to, you
exactly.
know, yeah, it's
Exactly.
providing,
Someone was telling me actually real life.
yeah,
In Egypt, there are a lot of these like centers for kids' activities, like extracurricular stuff,
yeah,
right? teaching different soft
Absolutely.
skills and stuff. But a lot of them, they do that as a way of kind of doing dawah and bringing people close to Allah. But because they're doing it in
Absolutely.
that way, the authorities are kind of chill with them, you know.
Yeah.
So these are like the parameters we're talking about. But the beauty of it, bro, it just hits different because you could do that exact service in the UK, but the UK
Yep.
is 90 whatever percent non-Muslim. But if you do that in the
Yep.
Muslim world, like everyone turning up is going to be Muslim, whether they
You're
pray, they don't
building it.
pray,
Yep.
whether this or that. But
Exactly.
it's good, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Look, it's
Um,
and you're
wow,
building
look at
that
me, bro.
country,
I'm so
inshallah.
full of hope going into it. Who knows what I'm heading into? The storm.
Look, it's going to be a headache. It absolutely is going to be a headache. Like, let's not. There's no two ways about it. But every cloud has a silver lining, akhi, and I think at the end of the day, if you can just make excuses for people, push past it, and become one of those people, like become, get in tune with your Algerian side more. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like there's al khair everywhere, and I'm a big optimist, no matter what. Like I have seen people beating each other up to get into taxis in Tunisia and all this stuff like it's just. And why are we queuing up and blah 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 blah? And I live most of my life thinking that about Tunisia and back home and North Africa in general.
Um,
But I really went, my perspective shifted and I tried to see the good and I started seeing the good and I started realizing the good. And then I realized, look, there's issues everywhere. There's issues everywhere. Like someone got like bottled at the bottom of my road yesterday, sorry, in England, in, where I live here down here. And
yeah.
there's a pride parade tomorrow, massive one, like Brighton's big pride thing. And the roads are all closed and
Mm.
there's flags everywhere and this and that. And I'm just like, there's issues everywhere. Don't go like what pick your poison, essentially is what I'm trying to say. Like Zayd is going to have this poison, Turkey's going to have its poison, Tunis is going to have its poison. There's poison everywhere. Pick your poison. This is the
Dubai has
dunya.
no
Nowhere is
poison, bro.
perfect. Who? Where? Dubai?
Dubai has no poison, bro.
Oh well, you know what? I think Dubai's poison is a bit sweeter. That's why you don't notice it. It's
Yeah, yeah.
shopping
But
more.
Dubai actually, you could live in Dubai and feel like there's nothing wrong in the world in a way. Like obviously dunya wise, but even
Mm,
even Islamically, you could be kind of um, that could be just kind of shielded from you. You could kind of forget about
yeah,
that in a
yeah,
way. It is possible, like definitely. But yeah, I was thinking, like just purely materially. This is
yeah.
the trajectory of my life, bro. I was in UAE,
Mm,
okay?
mm.
Then took a little step down to Turkey. Now another step down to
Oh.
Algeria. What's next? I'm gonna end up in like Congo after that. I was like,
Oh no. Well, it is what it is, actually. Like, I think it's come at a decent time of your life, just based on, age and
Alhamdulillah, Bil
where your
Alameen.
kids are at and stuff, inshallah. And we did say,
Exactly.
didn't we? We said like every challenge is a blessing, inshallah. And look,
Yeah, yeah,
best case scenario, it's amazing, and you live the rest of your life there, and you benefit and you build and whatever. And worst case scenario, it's an
yeah,
experience, and your kids get some time in Zaire, and you get to adopt, like, feel
yeah,
Algerian or feel some sort of identity, somewhere they can call home, somewhere they can
yeah,
go back to.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm really
100%.
sad that like my kids unfortunately haven't had as much contact with North Africa as I did growing up. Haven't lived there yet, haven't visited as much as I did. Like we used to go every summer when I was a kid. I just can't do that. Like
Um,
I've tried, but I just can't. I haven't had that opportunity. So I do feel,
um,
but despite that, they really
it's not too
feel
late,
an
inshallah.
identity. No, inshallah, it's not. But like when I look at Suleiman, I'm like 8 years old, man. Oh, when I was 8, I was living there. So like I can't help but
Mm,
qaran, and have that comparison. So
yeah,
yeah, but best case scenario, inshallah, your kids are gonna have, form some amazing memories, have some grand pita, have some tulum, all this stuff. I don't know if you guys eat that, but that's what my wife tells me.
wait,
Yeah,
I never even heard of the second thing. What is it?
really, tulum. You haven't had tulum? Okay, it's like meatball
Two.
marqa kind of
What is
thing.
that?
Like I said, meatball,
Okay, maybe
like
I just don't know the
marqa
name.
meatball and
This is
stuff.
like a marca thing. Okay, yeah, I've had that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, exactly, bro. I don't think this tone of the episode has been that negative, but obviously
No, no,
it's
no.
very difficult. I haven't really talked about that side of it. It is difficult. It did
Mm,
remind me how kind of crazy my life is compared to some
yeah,
people in terms of the stability or whatever. But and it's also made me realize, like, wow, I could be given 7 days to leave a country, and I kind of didn't flinch, bro. Maybe partially it's because I was semi expecting it, but partially it's like, okay, let's do it again. This time with 3 kids instead of one. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I kind of didn't flinch. But I part of it
it's the
is
thing. Like
hoping
I
for the
was,
best from Allah. And
yeah.
mm,
I mean, when you told me, like, because I know what I'm like. So because we were due to record an episode, I think, and I was like, dude, like, you just need to, I don't
yeah,
know, cancel this and go and sort your life because I know I just
yeah,
would
yeah,
not be
yeah, yeah.
able to focus on anything. I'm a bit of a panicker, even though afterwards, every single time I panic, afterwards, I'm like, after I sort it out, I'm like, why did I panic? Alhamdulillah, everything's always fine. Allah always
Mm,
looks after us. But
mm.
I can't help it in the moment. Like a client could message me and say, I need this done or whatever, and I'll just start panicking because that's where I go. When actually there's nothing to panic
Right.
about. I'll hit a roadblock and I'm like,
Mm, yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
I'm.
everyone's different, I suppose.
I guess I'm the opposite. I'm a bit too chill.
Really?
I'm supposed to
Oh no.
leave like in about maybe 4 days. I'm supposed to fly out, and alhamdulillah, I
Yeah.
sold everything or given away everything. But I've got probably the most expensive thing that I have in terms of it's quite new and it was quite expensive. I've not got rid of it, and I don't know how I'm going to get rid of it. But I'm kind of like chill. I'm- I don't know. I'm
Right.
not panicking enough about that.
Inshallah khair, man. Inshallah khair. Well, it's almost Maghrib
Yeah.
here, so I need to shoot. But maybe I don't know. The next episode, where we might you be?
I might be in an Airbnb in Algeria, in probably in the capital,
Inshallah.
in
Inshallah.
Jazair al Asima,
Oh, oh, what nice.
inshallah. I am expecting, like, because I overstayed my
Yep.
residence permit date, they usually fine you, like, they fine you a certain amount for every day you overstayed, but you never know what they're going to do. They could slap on like a higher fine. It's kind of a bit discretionary. It's not like a rule to it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully it's not too high. And also they could ban you. Like if you stay more than 10 days beyond your expiry, they
Yeah.
do have the right to kind of ban you from like between three
Mm,
months to 5 years. So I'm hoping that I don't get banned because one thing I'll just say is like, if I live in Algeria, I'm planning, like one of the main reasons I want to live in the capital is because I just want to be near the airport because I do see myself um, flying a lot and like being mobile, whether it's coming Istanbul, whether it's Umrah, whether it's whatever. I do want to be kind of mobile. So Pegasus launched cheap flights from Algeria to Istanbul and vice versa recently. Actually, this summer they just launched that. So it cost me
yeah.
about 100 and I don't know, £100 or something return. So I think I would be popping over to Istanbul now and then, inshallah. And I
Yeah.
want to even with my kids, like I was saying to my friend, I've never once had a year where I don't have to fly somewhere for to see family, right? To like go visit family.
Mm,
I've never once in my life, right? Like lived in the same place as my family. Now I'm gonna
yeah.
live where my family. I don't.
Oh,
So that
beautiful.
means if I have money to travel, I could actually spend it on a umrah or a holiday or whatever. So,
Yeah.
inshallah,
Absolutely.
I could put some money aside and like travel to certain places and make it
Yeah.
like some sort of educational trip for the family or whatever, Yani. So
That's
that could be
beautiful.
good.
Yeah.
That could be good. So yeah,
Inshallah khair.
Allah yasahil al-amr, inshallah goes
Ameen.
well. And yeah, anyway, this is a
Inshallah.
journey. We'll keep it updated via the podcast, I suppose.
Inshallah. May Allah make it
Yeah,
easy.
inshallah, people don't take it as a negative thing. Like I'm not taking it as a
No, no,
negative
no.
thing. I'm taking it literally as a qadar thing. And
Yeah.
this is life, bro. This is the world we live in with nation states and visas and passports and citizenships. This is how it is. So you
Yeah.
gotta be prepared, but you shouldn't let that slow you down. You should go for what you need to go for in life, and
Mm,
yeah, push. Inshallah, try and go for
absolutely.
whatever you need.
Inshallah khair. It sounds like it's been a natural
Okay,
build up to this moment
inshallah.
anyway. And, I'm sure that those avid listeners are loving it. It's like all come to a head now, isn't it? So, inshallah. Sure.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.
So,